Hello. Okay, so I'm Stephanie from the Wilson Public Library, branch of the Southern Oklahoma Library System. And a while back, I had a program, a marble, make your own marble run program. And so all of you kiddos that are at home right now and looking for things to do, I thought you guys might want to try this at home. So if some of you came to the program, I loved it. It was great. But if you missed the program, then I'm going to show you guys how to make a marble run of your very own, okay, out of some things that you can just find around the house, hopefully, okay? All right, so I have two different models here. I have a marble run maze, I guess you might say, and then I have a marble run made with paper plates here, okay, a spiral one. Okay, so for today, for this video, we're just going to make this one, and we will do this one later, maybe in another video, but for today, we're just going to do this one, okay? So I'll show you how this works. So I have my marble. So I'm going to drop my marble into this tall tower, and it should travel down to this tower, drop in this hole, and run down to this tower, and then come out into this last small tower, and then come out this hole right here, okay? So let's see if this works. So I'll do it this way, and then I'll see if I can turn it up where you can see. So here we go. Ta-da! Okay, the marble. All right, so I'm going to turn it up like this and see if it will actually work if I do that. I don't know if you guys can see. I just built it. Oh, it's not going to work. Okay. All right. And then this one, it's been used it. I've taken it a few places, and so it kind of got. Let me see if this will work. Arrgh. Let's try. It really does work. It's just been. Yay, there we go. Okay, so he's traveled around a little bit, so he's been around for a while, so he needs a little adjustment, I think. But so for today, we're going to make this one. Okay. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a cardboard base. Okay. And so the bigger the better. It gives you more room to spread out your pieces. Okay. You're also going to need scissors. You're going to need a pen or some kind of writing utensil to draw, make marks on your tubes for cutting. And then, of course, some marbles. And then hot glue sticks and a hot glue gun. You probably could use tape. It will take a little bit longer. If you're going to use a hot glue gun, be sure to get help from an adult or an older sibling, someone in your house to help you, or to make sure if your parent's okay with you using the hot glue gun, just make sure you get permission to do that, okay? Also, just be careful with the scissors. I actually do have a box cutter here that actually helps when you already have your tubes glued down and you're trying to make a slice in the tube, but do not use one of these if you do not have adult supervision, okay? All right, so you also are going to need cardboard tubes. These are from paper towels. This is a paper towel tube holder, paper towel holder tube, cardboard, and then the toilet paper tubes, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to start out with a tall piece, okay? So we're just going to make one that looks like this one for today, okay? So we're just going to replicate this. You guys can do your own creation. I'm going to show you how to do this one, but you can make all different kinds of twists and turns. The options are endless, okay? All right, so we're going to start with a tall tube, okay? A paper towel tube, a tall one. I'm going to start over in this corner, okay? So I have room to go here and then back here, okay? I'm going to start here. I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? I'm not going to glue that down yet. So what I'm going to need to do first is, so if you see here, we have a cardboard runner coming from this tall tower to this one, okay, like a bridge, okay? So this needs an opening, this tall tower right here. So this tower is going to need an opening cut in the top, okay? I'm going to do that first. Okay. It's easier to cut if you don't have it glued down. You get to a certain point where you have to go ahead and glue it down and then cut, and that's a little bit more difficult, but it's doable. Okay, so I'm going to glue this guy down. That way I will know he needs to be in place, so I'll know how far to extend the next one and make sure that this distance doesn't alter or change. Okay. Glue this down. Okay, I want to make sure that my opening is facing this direction because this is the direction I want to go with my next tower. Okay. So what I need to do next is I'm going to, so this guy's tall. I don't want the next one to be as tall because my marble needs to be able to roll down the runner here. So I want it to slope down, so I need the next tower to be shorter. Okay, so I could use these and I could put some together. And probably you're going to have more toilet paper holders than you will paper towel holders. I do, so I use more of these than paper towel holders. However, so for this one, I'm just going to go ahead and cut off a piece of this, okay, and make it shorter than this one. Now, I could just cut a hole here, but I really don't need that top. So, I'll cut that off. And then I'm going to glue this over here. Okay, so I'm going to go this direction. I'm going to go ahead and glue it in place. That way I know how far and how much of a runner I need to place between towers. Okay, I need another glue stick. You guys are having lots of fun at home and reading lots of books and being creative and going outside to play and getting some sunshine. The weather has been beautiful. But if you are stuck inside and you have some of these crafting materials at home, then you could build one of these. Okay, so I should have cut my opening before I glued that down, but I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right, so I need an opening on this one, just like I have an opening here for my runner to set down on there, okay? All right. And then, so I'm going to use toilet paper holders, tubes, okay, cardboard tubes. I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to cut this in half to make the runner bed, okay? So for the marble to roll through the little bridge, but it has to have sides there so the marble doesn't roll off the side, okay? So I'm going to glue these together, okay? And 2, I don't think is going to be enough. No, it doesn't reach. You can see that. Doesn't reach, so I'm going to need 3 of these, okay? I actually have one cut here, so I'm going to go ahead and use that and start gluing these together. Okay. All right, this may be too long, but I can adjust it. It's cardboard. I have scissors. I can cut it, okay? And I can make adjustments as I go. Okay, that's what's cool about this is you're problem solving. Okay, so along the way you're going to figure out that maybe you have to make adjustments, and because something didn't work, so you're problem solving to figure out how to fix the problem. Okay, all right. So this edge of this runner, okay, it has to go all the way to the back of this tube. Do you know what's going to happen if the runner doesn't go to the back of the tube? Okay, so let me hold that up where you can see it. All right, so do you see that at the back of that? If I put that right there on the edge, which I'm going to have to do on some of these, okay? If I put that on the edge and I drop my marble in, what's going to happen? Yeah, so it's going to go in that hole. This is glued down. Your marble's gone, okay? You can turn it over and get it out, but so then you'll have to deal with that every time. So that being said, this edge of this runner needs to go all the way to the back of your tower, your tube, okay? So I know that for sure, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I can make adjustments here, and that is barely long enough. Wow. Okay. I might even have to add a piece. So I'm going to go ahead and glue here. Then I'm going to put a bit of glue on the opening here. Okay, so you can see that, but that goes all the way to the back. Okay. All right. And then this guy is going to go here, and I think that's going to work. Just have to pull it over a bit, so I think that'll work perfectly. All right, so this one goes all the way to the back. This one does not need to go all the way to the back of the tower, because we want, once we glue that on there, so we want the marble, it's going to run here, and then it's going to drop down into this tower, and it's going to come out over here. Okay, so if you can see that on this one, so it goes here, comes here, it drops down, and then it drops into this runner here. Okay, so this one had to come all the way to the back because we don't want the marble to drop down in there, but we do want it to drop down into this one so it can get to the next level. Okay, all right. I'm going to put some glue right on the edge of that, press it down on my opening. Actually, I could probably put a bit of glue right there too, because it doesn't act like it wants to stay. Okay, and this is a cool 2-level hot glue, so it actually is not quite as hot as. Okay, all right, so here we go. And so the next level, what I'm going to do is, because this is, I'm going to use 2 of these, okay? I'm going to use 2 of these to make my next tower. I don't want it to be as tall as this one, but I have to put these together. It's not going to work very well if I just try to glue those together like that, so I'm going to push one down into the other. Let me see if I can make that work. Okay, let me try this one and see if it will go down in here. Perfect. Okay. All right, so I'm going to push that down in there. That's going to work. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take it out. I'm going to glue it now that I've got it. Make sure that it's going to fit. Okay. Put that back down in there. Okay. So, okay. And so then I'm going to put this 3rd tower, I'm going to put it towards the back of the base here, okay? And so this is pretty tall, okay? So what I can do is test this out, and I can make myself another runner, and I think I'm probably going to need 3 of these. Maybe 2, okay? Maybe 2, because this, oh, you know what? Okay, so this is when I put it into this, when I push this into, when I place it into this tower, it's going to have to go all the way to the back of this tower to make sure that when the marble drops from here down into that tube, that this catches it. So that's going to have to go all the way to the back, so it's not actually going to reach this far, but I can just test it out and see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I can always add a 3rd one if I need it. Okay, I'm just going to glue that right on the very edge and try to make it as long as I can. All right, and then this guy right here, so he looks a little tall, right? Okay, so he's too tall. What am I going to do? Well, it's cardboard, right? So I can adjust that. I'm just going to cut some of this off and make it shorter. And then I'm going to flip it over because that's not super even. I'm going to flip it over so it will sit flat on the cardboard on my base. Okay. All right. So I'm going to have to cut an opening in this. I still may have to adjust that and make it a tad bit shorter, but with this opening and then the opening in the second tower, I think we'll be okay. All right. So I'm going to, all right. So if you can see here, so we have this tall tower, we have the next level, the second one, and then we're working on the third one. Okay, so when that marble drops in here, we want this runner to catch, can you see that? We want this runner to catch the marble that drops into the second tower, okay? Then it's going to drop into the third tower, and then we want it to drop onto this runner here so it can get to the final and the fourth tower, okay? So this runner is going to go all the way to the back of this second tower, but it's not going to go all the way to the back of this third tower because we want the marble to drop down in there, okay? So I know on this one that I need to glue that right on the edge of that tower, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Right on the edge. If it's too far back, then the marble gets stuck and you'll have to cut some of the cardboard off. Okay, which is doable. Okay, and guess what? That has to slope up. Did you see that mistake? Just made a mistake. That's okay, we can fix it. Okay, so that has to slope up because we want it to come from this tower to this one, okay? It doesn't need to slope up that much though. All right, so, and that, I'm not gonna glue this down because this has to go all the way to the back of this tower, so it's not going to be quite this long, okay? All right, but what I do need to do is measure where I need to cut the hole in this second tower so this runner can go into it, okay? So I'm going to say, I'm going to use my pen here, if you can see that, and can you see that? And I'm going to draw a line right there. Where I need to cut, okay? Draw a line on the tower where I need to make my cut and where I want my opening, okay? All right, and then I'm going to use my scissors. And this is probably the most difficult about this whole thing is once you get your tower glued, trying to make an opening in the cardboard. Okay. But it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work, right? Okay, so I can just tear it off of there. We just want the marble to get where it's supposed to go, okay? All right, and then so that's really too far to the side, so I'm going to cut a little bit more over here. All right, and we want that to go in there. All right, and so here's another trick. So that really doesn't want to go into that opening. And instead of cutting that one larger, I'm going to cut these corners off of this runner right here. You see that? So I'm going to cut these corners off of this, this runner of these tubes. So it sort of makes a little U shape here. Okay. And then that will slide in that hole easier. Okay. All right. All right. And then we want that to go all the way to the back of this tower, okay? So when the marble falls into this tower, this runner, if it's pushed all the way to the back, it's going to catch the marble so it can come down here, okay, to the next level. All right, so, and that probably needs to be a tad bit shorter here. This needs to slope down a little bit more so our marble doesn't get stuck and just sit there, okay, sit there, okay? So we're going to cut a little bit of this off, just to make this, instead of adjusting that hole, actually I really can't because I've already cut my hole there. So it has to rest on the edge of that. And so I'm just going to cut a little bit of the height off of this third tower. So my runner slopes a little bit more to make sure that the marble doesn't just stop on the runner and sit still, okay? All right. All right. So now I'm going to glue this. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the bottom of this also. Oops, glue everywhere. All right, I'm going to slide that in there, push it all the way to the back, and then push that down right in place. You could do that in 2 steps, okay? But I knew once it went in there, this was not going anyplace, so I went ahead and glued that on there, okay? All right. So now, probably what we should have done, we probably should have cut our opening in here, but that's okay. Because, all right, so what we're going to do is, so we have our 3 towers so far, okay? So we have this tall tower. The marble's going to roll down here. We have an opening here so it can drop down into the, or onto the next runner, which leads to the 3rd tower, okay? And then that is open there, so the marble can drop down into this 3rd tower here. And then, so we need one more, okay? At least one more. You could make all different kinds of, the options are endless for the twists and turns that you could do, okay? But for today, so we're going to add one more, the final one, okay? So if you can see that here, so we have tall, goes down to the 2nd tower, drops down, goes to the 3rd tower, and then we have this one last one right down here, okay? All right, so we want the marble to drop, to come out of the 3rd tower onto this runner and into this last one right here, okay? So I need to get both of these ready, both of these pieces, this last 4th tower here, this shortest one, and this runner ready at the same time. I need to know the height of this so I know where to cut the hole in this tower here, okay? All right, so I'm just going to take a toilet paper tube, cardboard tube. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter, just to make sure that I have enough slope for the marble to roll down. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut an opening in this because I know I need a runner to rest on this opening. Okay. All right, and so one more thing. So this is our last tower, okay? So the marble is going to go from here, 1st tower, the tallest, come down to the 2nd tower. It's going to drop down and roll down to the 3rd tower. And then it's going to come out here, and it's going to roll down a runner to this last tower right here, okay? Does anyone know what's a really important thing that we need to do, okay? So with this last tower, so once the marble comes out of here, and then it drops down into here, what's going to happen to the marble? Okay, the marble is going to be stuck in this tube if we don't cut a hole. So we need a hole, okay, for the marble to come out of. Okay, so you see this? Otherwise, the marble's going to be stuck in there. Okay, now, I guess you could leave it, don't put a hole. You could do that and then just dump it out, but why would you want to do that? All right, so we're going to cut a hole right there where the marbles come out of. We want the marble to exit the last tower so we can use it again. All right. And then, so we need one more runner coming from this 3rd tower, 1, 2, 3, 3rd tower down to this last one and then come out this hole right here. So I need one more runner coming from here to here. So I just happen to have one cut here. So I'm just going to measure this, okay? And I need to measure where I want to cut the hole in my 3rd tower here. So because I have these two tubes together here, I can see, you can't see, but I can see in here where they meet, and I don't want to have to cut through two pieces of cardboard. So I'm going to make sure that this runner, I'm going to cut my hole right there just in the top of that, that tower right there. So I only have to cut through one piece of cardboard, okay? Because remember, we put two together right there, and they overlap. All right, so I'm going to use my pen, and I'm going to mark on this tower where I want to cut the opening. Okay. And then I'm going to use this to make a little slit. Okay. And then I'm going to use my scissors. I'm going to have to turn this up so I can see. And remember, it doesn't have to be pretty as long as it works. Okay, and the opening just has to be big enough for the marble to come out. Okay, but also you have to have enough room for your runner to sit in the opening, to rest on that opening right there, and for the marble to come out. And we may have to cut that a little bit bigger. But, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue my runner on, have it rest here. Okay, and I don't want that to go all the way to the back of that tower, that last one, because I want the marble to drop down into, so it can come out and exit the hole here, okay? So I'm going to put glue right on the edge of my last tower and put my runner right on the edge of that, and we want it to slope up, okay, because this one is taller. And then let me see if this fits. So make sure that you have your hole turned where you want the marble to exit, okay? If you want it to exit inside here, then you would turn it this way, okay? But I want mine to come out on this side, okay? You can make your marble come out wherever you want. You could actually even just cut a hole in it with a little, something to catch it, and then have a little cup or a bowl for your marble to run out into, okay? And it catches it. That's pretty cool, right? Okay. So I'm going to glue that on there. Actually, I'm going to test this to see if that is big enough for that marble. Yeah, I think it's going to work. But just for safety's sake, I'm going to cut that just a little bit bigger. Just shave off just a little bit more just to make sure the marble doesn't have room to come out of there. All right, so I'm going to put glue because it's easier to pick this up. I'm going to put glue right on the edge of that runner. And then I'm going to place, and actually I'm going to go ahead and put glue on this, on the bottom of this, because I want it to stay in place. And that to rest there. Oh, you know what? We want that to go all the way to the back, right? We want it to go all the way to the back. Need another glue stick. So I just made a mess because we need this. See? You make mistakes and you learn from it, okay? Mistakes are okay. That's how we learn. Because this guy needs to go all the way to the back of this third tower. We don't want the marble to drop down in there and be stuck, okay? So we want that to go all the way to the back, okay? I'm going to have a mess. Okay, so I'm going to cut these corners off. It doesn't have to be pretty, right? I said that. It doesn't have to be pretty. So I have glue everywhere. That's okay. We all learned something from that. Okay, so this guy needs to go all the way to the back. Of the third tower. Now, my opening is not big enough is the problem, okay? So instead of adjusting it, I'm just going to adjust this runner a little bit more. All kinds of glue everywhere. All right, so I'm going to go all the way to the back. I know if you guys were here, you'd be helping me out, telling me what I need to do because you guys have already figured this out, right? All right, I'm going to push that all the way to the back of the third tower because I want the marble to be caught by this tube. And then I have tons of glue on here, but it'll dry. It's okay. And actually, I just thought of something. So I have all this glue here on this base. So why don't I just add a little bit of glue and see if it will catch the marble after it comes out of this hole. So let's put a little bit of glue right here. I'm just going to make a little half circle there with glue just to give it a little ridge. I don't know if it's going to work, but hey, why not try? Okay, so do you see what I did? So I put glue. I already had all that messy stuff there. So I just put a little glue in a little circle, half circle, around where the marble's going to come out. And let's see if it stops the marble and catches it and keeps it from running off of the base into the floor. Okay. All right, we're just going to test it out. It might not work, but hey, we tried. All right, so that completes our maze. We're going to test it out. I'm going to give this just a little bit longer to dry. I don't want my marble to stick to that glue, so I'm going to give it a little bit longer. We're going to see if our marble run is a success. Okay, so here's my marble. All right, we're going to try it. We're going to see if it works. So what we want to happen is we want to put the marble in here. We want it to run down this river, this bed, this runner, into this second tower, drop down and be caught by this second runner. Can you see that? The second runner. And then into the third tower. There's an opening there so it can drop out off of this runner and onto this last runner right here. Can you see that? And then into this final tower, the small one that has the hole where the marble's going to come out. Okay, so let's see if it works. Can you guys drum roll with me? Let's see if it works. Okay, drum roll, and here we go. We're going to try it. Let's see what happens. Whoop, whoop, success. Okay, and how about that? So it did all of my glue. As long as I don't tilt it, it stops it, keeps it from rolling off of the base. Okay, all right. So one more time, I'll show you how that worked. Ta-da! There we go. I hope that you guys have a super fun time. Happy adventures creating your marble run. Send me some pictures if you make one. I want to see how creative you get because the options are endless. You guys could do all different kinds of things. Okay, you could actually even have, the marble doesn't want to come out. All right, so you could actually have something else coming off of here. You could have a hole here to put the marble in and then come off of it. You could do all kinds of things. You could even put a paper plate in the mix and have it drop down on the plate and roll around. And so get creative, have fun doing it, be super careful with your scissors and your glue. Make sure you have supervision to use the glue, or at least you have permission. If your parents are okay with you using it, make sure you have permission to do that. Okay? Have fun. Thanks for joining me today. And hopefully we can do this one another time. But for today, marble run success. Thanks, guys. See you next time.